What's up, everybody? It's 12 o'clock Eastern Standard, and we are here at recteq headquarters with two of the most exhilarating people in daytime broadcasting. Chef Greg and Jody, here they are.
It went from live broadcast to daytime television. And then exhilarating?
It's a good, I mean...
That's a pretty good descriptor word if you ask me.
He broke out that thesaurus.
Thesaurus.
It's a big word.
I couldn't say it. But welcome once again, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us for another wonderful episode of Lunch Break presented by recteq Grills. We got an amazing logo here now.
I mean, we're just...
It's black and white, but we'll get some color. Don't worry about it.
I think it's clean. It's crisp.
Very, very nice. Thank you, Charlie, for doing that for us.
It's got the good logo
I
on there.
I love that font.
recteq is spelled correctly and capitalized.
Capitalized perfectly. Man, just really do appreciate you guys tuning in. We're hoping to bring some normalcy to your home as well as cutting up a little bit.
Well, we're actually not going to cut anything today because these ribs were already trimmed for us.
And that was your chef joke of the day.
Funny guy.
Brought to you by Spit Jack Injectors. Go ahead and spit in that jack.
Funny guy I am not. We balance each other out, though.
No, you are. I think you're freaking hilarious, Greg. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, you are, Chef Greg. You don't give yourself enough credit. You are a funny man.
Right. And I'm Jody Flanagan, your recteq Grills expert. With me, as always, is the hilarious Chef Greg Muller on the ones and twos, the guy behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz, Chef John. Hey, Chef John.
What's up, guys?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good, guys. How are y'all?
Great, great.
It's a beautiful
You
day
feeling
outside.
okay, guys, over there? Y'all healthy?
Oh,
well,
we're blessed.
Family's doing good.
Blessed beyond belief. We're lucky to be here. But thank you for joining us. Make sure you smash that share button. Give us a like. Give us a love. Today we're doing ribs in preparation for after hours tonight. We have already cooked for the minimal staff that they will allow us to legally have here. And they have already eaten and enjoyed their chili dogs for the day.
We made fresh hot dog chili.
We made fresh hot dogs too.
Yeah.
We got the casing
and deviled eggs too.
The only thing that would have made those hot dogs better, or the hot dog chili better, is if we took some of them, pureed them in the food processor, and then mixed that into the chili.
I overheard you saying that this morning. That sounds absolutely delicious.
Coney sauce. We made it like some time ago on a Fun Day Friday back in the day.
I believe that episode may be on the website, recteqgrills.com.
It is absolutely on YouTube.
Ooh.
But I think Coney sauce is on the website too. To check it out, recipes.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
But we asked a lot of folks yesterday if you guys wanted these recipes that we are using for lunch break presented by recteq. And we had an overwhelming amount of yeses. So we are working on getting a recipe series. So make sure you sign up for that newsletter.
And we also asked, what would you like to see us cook?
Right.
And ribs was a very popular comment that we saw. Again, we did briskets and butts last week.
What were we going to do today, though, Greg? We were going
to have a canned food challenge.
That's right.
Because
ravioli, canned
ravioli and canned chicken and dumplings. We were going to have a kind of battle royale. We were going to get some ingredients.
And recteqify them.
Yeah. But we figured you asked for it, we would do it. Ribs. We got some beautiful St. Louis ribs here.
Yep. You guys have any questions about anything rib? Please put them in the comments section down below. We'll try our darndest to get to them, of course.
For sure. For sure.
But yeah, we've got some amazing folks out there already joining us, 140 of you. Man, if all of y'all could smash that share button, it would be amazing. But we're going to get to some amazing questions a little later. We've got a longer show. We can definitely stretch it out for you, but we'll get right into it, right, Chef Greg?
For sure. So St. Louis ribs, all right?
Yeah, these are St. Louis style
These are St. Louis.
ribs.
Put some gloves on here so my hands are nice and clean. Again, recteq Grills nitrile gloves. I love it. Keep your hands good and sanitary. So again, these are St. Louis style ribs, and you'll notice that there's definitely meatier than baby backs, okay? And they're also a flatter bone. And if you look, probably is that a good shot there, John? Those bones are nice and flat, whereas baby backs are almost curved or cupped. But definitely fattier ribs, meatier ribs. These ribs you'll find in a lot of KCBS competitions. And these have already been trimmed in the St. Louis cut. So these are cut from the spare rib.
These have been trimmed.
Yep, and these are pork ribs, if anybody was curious. But they have been trimmed from the spare rib.
The rib tips have been cut off of them, and they've been squared up, essentially to make them look pretty.
And for competitions, and we talked a little bit about Academy, but again, when we're looking for ribs, we want nice, straight bones.
Right.
And you probably notice, maybe this one, they start to turn a little bit. that wouldn't be a really good rack for a competition. This one's not too bad.
And then, there are tricks of the trade that a lot of folks, you can actually cut ribs that have kind of turned, but those bones are kind of straight. You can actually cut them in a certain way, to
get them straight-esque.
Straight. That's right.
Yeah. But I'm going to take the membrane off of mine, and you'll notice there's a membrane on the back of the bones here, and there's 1,000 different ways to do it. I'm a fan of a big old fork.
A big old fork.
A big old fork.
Cool.
What I'll do is I will take the fork and kind of go under that membrane, right along a bone, okay? And then I can just basically work that membrane up, get my thumb in there, and then essentially just
And I'm a corner
pull it
worker. I start on a corner with a paper towel. I just peel it up just like a sticker. And if you're lucky enough, and if your ribs are cold enough, that's a very good tip, is to make sure they're nice and cold when you're doing
There we
this.
go.
Makes it a little
clean
bit
as a
easier.
whistle.
You can almost get the whole pull. Look at that right there.
That's good.
Oh yeah. And then this cannot be used, guys. Do not save this for for anything. Don't boil it down to make yourself some pork broth or anything. Just throw it away. It's just nastiness.
And some people leave the membrane on because they like the texture to it.
Right. Some folks swear by leaving the membrane on, it'll actually, make a moister rib. To each his own. But,
Yeah. And some folks leave it on because their grills kind of cook a little inconsistent, and they actually burn it off as they're cooking it.
Right.
You ain't got that problem on the recteq. But again, I'm a big fan of the fork.
And you could for sure do ribs in the oven if you guys absolutely had to. But why in the world, if you had another option, want to do them in the oven?
There's a
There we go.
Alton Brown did some ribs in the oven on Food Network the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Shout out Alton Brown. John, we got any awesome questions from the folks out there? In
Everybody's
Recteq land?
just tuning in. They said they're super excited about that we're doing ribs because they've got ribs to do.
That's
People are
right.
cooking ribs this weekend
like it.
and this week, so this is going to be great.
If you've got ribs frozen and you want to cook them this weekend, go ahead. and put those
Hey,
bad boys in the refrigerator.
Rich asked, do you present the ribs all together or do you cut them up in individual pieces?
So it depends. For KCBS, you actually have to put some sort of greenery down or garnish in the box, and then you want at least 6 ribs. Ideally, 8 or 9, maybe 5 in the bottom,
Fill the
4 up
box
top.
up.
You want to fill that box up. But ultimately, you want to put the best in the box. If you've got some janky ribs, maybe you got like 7 that are kind of put 6. But you'll actually slice them up. Now, in different competitions, maybe you got to cook baby backs, and you can do what's called the Hollywood cut. So you're going to take basically your bones and double cut it. So you're going to cut here. Come in here, Matt. I'll show you. So this was a baby back. You can see I've got bone, 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 bone. So if I want to do a Hollywood cut, I'm basically going to cut right on that side of the bone. So I've got meat, bone, and then just on this side, so you've got more meat on there. Those are the Hollywood cut. That's very popular for baby back ribs.
And if you're just cooking them in the backyard, man, you can cook them whole and then slice them when you're ready for them.
Yep.
There's no true way of properly doing it. They're all the right way.
And if you got big gobs of fat on the back, you can even grab a spoon here. Check this out. So if you got big gobs of fat, take a spoon, and you can essentially just scrape that fat away. And that way you don't worry about getting a knife and cutting it. You can see but all that fat's coming off on there. And St. Louis ribs are a little fattier than baby backs, but lots of flavor here. Okay, so take the time if you want, scrape that fat off.
Yeah, baby backs are going to be cut near that spine. These St. Louis are going to be cut near the tip of that.
So think of the baby back
End of the
rib
rib.
is going to be that rib that is along the pork loin. So if you had a bone-in pork loin, those ribs there, that curve is going to be, we got the pig? Oh, there's the pig. So again, your loin is here at really lean meat. The ribs back behind here, that's where the baby backs are, because again, that bone curves. If you had a pork chop, you got that bone like that and that big muscle there for your pork loin. But
if you have any questions about ribs, guys, put them in the comment section down below. Today is all about ribs for RecTech Lunch Break. We appreciate you for joining us. Again, today's episode is based on ribs. We're preparing and prepping our ribs to cook them tonight.
Yeah,
at
we'll eat them
7 p.m.
We'll eat them at 7 o'clock. Maybe we'll time it so that we can glaze them and then eat them at 7:30.
Yeah, probably about 7:30.
But we got a lot of great recipes on the
Got
website.
a lot of folks
Check
watching.
out
Wow.
321 Ribs.
439, man. If you guys could smash
like
that
it.
share button just one time, that would mean the world to us. John, you got any awesome questions out there? I see
Yeah. I don't
our
wanna-
boy Russ Betsy is out there. You know, we ran into Russ at the Big Pig Jig. He's a KCBS judge.
I like it.
What's up, Russ?
I don't want to get ahead of everybody here. I know we're going to be cooking them tonight, but they want to know, is there any difference in the way we cook them on the Bullseye or the 590 or the 700? Is it the exact same method?
Little bit. So the Bullseye being more of a direct heat, a little bit more, I'll say aggressive heat, a little bit more of a,
Yeah, there's only one
direct
piece
fire.
of metal between the meat and the heat.
For sure. That's going to cook maybe 10-15% faster. Now, when you've got that thing low and slow, you can cook 225 in that grill, you can cook 275. But you can probably expect your cooks to be, between 8 and 10% faster, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You'll also notice maybe they'll bark up a little bit faster
Right.
and or a little bit darker because, again, it's more of that direct fire heat, whereas on the lifestyle grills, the 700, the 590, and the 340, and the 2500, again, you got a couple pieces of metal between the heat and the meat, and that'll give you more of an even cook to it.
Right.
But, I mean, some of the best brisket we did, we did that brisket hot and fast last Wednesday
Man, it was-
on the
it looked
Bullseye.
absolutely
And
amazing.
that
It
thing was
tasted even
fire.
better.
And again, you can go overnight cooks on these too. Make sure that, fill that.
And again, we didn't have a aluminum pan
Nope, it was
sitting on
just
the
right
deflector
on the
shield.
grate.
You could, if you wanted to, just like your charcoal grill or gas grill, set it up for a more indirect
Yep.
heating. You can place a piece, I don't know, a pan if you have
And
just
any
a pan.
accessories you might have for that 22-inch kettle-style grill will work with the RTB 380 Bullseye. So if you've got your grandfather's, kettle grill that rusted out in the backyard, but you got a bunch of accessories for it laying in the garage, haven't been used, they will fit. So sure as Pete.
Ben Lowe's out there. What's up,
What's
Ben
up,
Lowe?
Lowski? I made a little injection, and this recipe is found in the cookbook under Whole Hog. And I stole this recipe from Mr. Kerry Chastain with Hold Your Horses Barbecue.
Scott Lambert, what's up?
Super nice guy. We actually, at the Big Pig Jig in Vienna, Georgia,
Right.
we cooked a whole hog on the chuck wagon. That was the RT CMG, cart-mounted grill, and we killed it down there. First time ever a whole hog has gotten a call, but this is a mixture of our gourmet barbecue sauce, a little bit of golden Italian dressing because we have a ton of it laying around,
Right.
a little bit of white vinegar, some sugar, and some hot sauce. And the ratio there is probably,
Sweet, heat, salty. I mean, you're hitting on
you got it all.
of those ends.
And we're also going to mop these kind of a couple times throughout the cook. I'm not sure if I'm going to wrap these. We might go, I know we had a great poll on Facebook and Instagram the other day about
Did
what did
we?
you prefer? Yeah, dry, saucy,
Yeah.
sweet, whatever. I prefer a dry rib. I'm not a huge fan of a wet, sweet. I'm more of a kind of a
Right.
spicy heat. I love vinegar sauce. Like I want to feel it kind of in the back here, like kind of that way back there. That's what I like. So again, this is probably, I didn't measure, I just dumped. It was 1 part of the golden Italian dressing, 2 parts of the barbecue sauce, 1 part vinegar, a couple shakes of hot sauce, and about a 1/4 cup of vinegar. And I'm going to use, it gets you. And I'm going to use the spit jack injector. And the cool thing about this is it's got a dial on it. And I'm going to back this down so that, again, I'm going to go like number 2, which is going to be a very light dose. It's actually 2 mils per injection. So every time I squeeze, it's 2 milliliters.
Exactly 2 milliliters.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to inject.
And that'll give you more consistency. So especially if you're a competition cook, you're more consistent with your cooks. You know exactly what they're going to taste like because you're putting the exact amount of liquid in
Yep.
there each and every time.
And what you want to be sure of too is you got to strain this because you don't want to get the stuff in the injector; it'll get stuck.
Absolutely.
So-
then you're up crap creek, right?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these ribs up and I'm going to put the injection needle in between the bones, right in the meat,
Those look great.
and we're just going to kind of give a little squeeze and a little pull.
But guys, what kind of ribs do you prefer? You like them dry? You like them wet? You like St. Louis? You like baby backs? You like beef ribs? Our boy Charlie Weir, he loves himself some daggone beef ribs, man. But put that in the comment section down below. We got to know what we're going to cook next for you guys. And if you have any great ideas for us, what you'd like for us to cook ourselves for lunch, let us know. Put it in the comment section down below. John, we got any awesome questions from the folks out there in recteq land?
Yes, they want to know how to keep those ribs nice and moist. Do you mop or do you spritz?
Well,
Normally,
that's-
I do nothing.
Yeah, that's
I just let it ride.
doing that does not inject moistness or moisture into the meat. that just kind of gives it that outside appearance. That helps with color and that little crispiness on the outside. That really doesn't help, moisturize the
Buying
rib.
a high quality rib is where you want to start. Make sure it's got a good bit of fat to it.
Fat equals flavor. You want to look for that
sure.
marbling.
If your ribs are kind of small, there's not a lot of meat on the bones. It's hard to cook something when there's not a lot of meat to it. So again, make sure there's some good meat on the bones. And I'm just putting just a little bit of a judge in. So I don't cross-contaminate, I put our kind of mop in that, just a little more.
So if you guys
Perfect. That's
didn't
good.
know, there's a lot of groups on Facebook that are part of the recteq family. And then we got a question from one of the groups out there at recteq Grill Owners of America. Jared Cooksey asks, question for you guys and gals, has anyone done smoked corn cob? I want to try it, but used to a grill. So what suggestions do you all have? I guess he's used to a gas or charcoal grill. Me, corn on the cob, I do about 400 degrees. Normally what I like to do is sprinkle it with a little bit of salt, get me a nice aluminum foil package, put me some butter in there. If I'm feeling frisky,
For sure.
I'm going to put some mayonnaise in there. Yeah, I'm going to put mayonnaise in my corn on the cob little packet. Salt and pepper. Normally I use Ben's Heifer Dust. If I'm feeling frisky, I'll throw a little bit of Dirty Girl in there, put it up, make it a nice little pouch, 400 degrees for about 30, 45 minutes. It kind of steams itself. That's usually the way we like to do it. What about you, Chef Greg? How do you like to do your corn on the cab?
I actually leave it in the husk. So what I'll do is
cool.
I'll pull that husk back. That vinegar's got a little heat to it coming off. But I'll pull that husk back. I'll pull some of the silk off of that. I'll soak it for a little bit, wrap it back up, and then what I'll do is I'll stick it on the bullseye like wicked. I mean like 550, 600 degrees for about 12 minutes or so. Pretty much going to burn the outside on purpose, and be good stuff. You inject your ribs too?
Yeah, inject mine if you could.
Oh,
Chef John, what about you?
I wasn't sure if you
how
wanted to do it differently.
How do you do your corn on the cob?
Corn on the cob, I like to leave it in the husk. I like to make a compound butter for it. I spread it all over the top in the husk, then pull the husk back over the top, throw it on the grill, let it kind of steam in
Time
that.
and temp?
I go 375 for about 45 minutes.
Or you want to do a comparison? We just got to make sure we keep them separate.
But what do they want?
Hey, do you guys want to see, you got to leave it up to us for taste.
But we can cook them on different grills too, so we can do some on the 590, some on the
Very cool.
700.
If you guys want to see us, we were going to inject all of them, but if you want to see us do a comparison of injection versus non-injection.
So what if we did some with a mustard binder? I don't know. People tell us. We got molasses in the back. I just got to run back there.
They
tell us
did
what
want
you
to see some binder. They wanted to know if you were going to use a binder. And they also, everyone's asking, what kind of injector is that, Chef Greg, and where do they find it?
All right, so I guess we're going to trade back here. This is the Spitjack injector. I prefer it for injecting smaller muscles. Now, if I'm doing like 57 pork butts, this is not the tool for that.
Yeah, that chops power injector.
Chops power
Bob.
injector is what you want. But again, this is give you the dose where you want, especially things like chicken. I can turn it down and put 1 mil.
Hold on, man. We got a special guest in the house. Boss man Ben Lassaf is in here right now. Hey, man.
Boss man
He's a critical
Ben.
employee.
Boss man
He's
Ben. Hey.
He
No, you're
definitely
good to go. Sorry we
moonwalked
had to do
across
that,
there.
everybody.
But I like it for being able to put very precise amounts of injection or liquid where I want. So just like a rib, that chops power injector is just overkill. It's fantastic, but it's a little overkill. So I prefer that because I can get it right in between the muscle there, and
And again, consistency.
easy to clean.
Consistency. You know exactly how much liquid is going to each and every piece of that rib. You keep your cook consistent. You know what it's going to taste like. You know what you're turning in. You know what you have to tweak left or right, front and back for the next competition.
Yep. And again, I'll keep this, and I might baste these ribs maybe twice throughout the cook.
Yep.
Maybe, but I guess let's do a mustard binder on those, and let's do maybe a more traditional, maybe 3-2-1 style.
And again, this is just mustard, guys. Yellow mustard, the recteq brand yellow mustard, not available at stores nationwide. But we're just going to load it up. All this is going to do is help that rub stick just a little bit better.
What kind of rub are you going to go on the top of that?
Man, I always like that sweet heat when we're talking about ribs. So I do a mixture of equal parts Rosaruski's Honey Rib Rub and then equal parts of the Ron's Screamin' Pig Rub.
All right, so I watched your pork butt video the other day, and I saw you measure this stuff precisely.
Precisely. It's just equal parts, man. So if they equal each other, you're essentially got the recipe right.
So we got that Ron's Scream Pig Rub, a little Rossaruskis.
And then, Ross is actually the son of Ron. So these rubs work perfectly together in unison. And they have for years. But shout out Ray Carnes, Ron Cundy, the co-founders of the company. We love you. We thank you for allowing us to bring joy to everybody's life.
Chef Greg and Jody, everybody's
Where's
got
that,
mixed
other question
emotions out here about injection, no injection,
Okay.
wrap, no wrap. Everyone's split pretty much down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's 1,000 ways to
Right.
skin a cat.
I'm
there's
a Chevy
not,
guy.
There's
Greg's
not
a Ford guy. I mean, it's all right.
Gas versus diesel. I don't know.
It's just how you live your
Tomato,
recteq
tomato. Ketchup or catsup.
Matt.
Honestly, there's no benefit. There's no advantage either way. It's ultimately what your family likes. Now, for me,
What you got time for?
I like a tougher rib, a rib with a little more of a bite to it. I'm going to undercook it. Well, wife and kids, they like that meat to fall off the bone. I overcook it. So when I'm cooking for them, that's what I do. I might, cook a rack for me a little bit less because that's what I prefer. But at the end of the day, it's what your family likes, and it's what you prefer. If the
And what you can find.
yeah.
Heck, you might not be able to find some of this stuff at the grocery store right now.
Yeah.
But just adapt, guys. Keep your heads up. We're here
Linda
for you.
Moore says a little warm apple pie would be good on that.
Ooh, hey, Linda. Linda watches all the time. We thank you for that. We got an awesome question for one of those insider groups, the recteq RT700 Insiders group. Mr. Laird, Rob P. Gill asked, I accidentally knocked the cover off my 700 light, ... It goes back on fine, but I beg the question, how do I clean it? Great question, Laird, Rob P. Grill. We get that all the time.
So the easiest way to clean it, honestly, there's no screws that hold it in place. You basically just reach up there and pop that light out. I clean it with a little bit of Dawn. If it's really, really, really crusty, maybe give it a little spray with some Easy Off in the sink, let it sit for just a minute, and then wipe it clean. But if you want to keep it in pristine, you probably want to clean that every couple cooks. It just depends. For me, I love the light, but I've kind of forgotten it's there.
Right.
So my bad on that one. But that's the easiest way to get it clean. Just soak it some Dawn overnight.
Or if you're lazy, put some oven cleaner in a plastic gallon bag. Let it sit about 12 hours. That
Come
stuff
right
will
off.
come right off. I promise you. Super easy to clean. And if you got a grill scraper, when the grill is hot and on, you can, if you're gentle with it, and
Just
it's not
give it
like
a little judge.
That's right. Just scrape that bad boy off, and you're good to go.
So I got to ask, ribs. Everybody's got a story where they were at that place where they just had that moment where they kind of fell in love with barbecue.
Okay.
Where's your moment?
Man, oh God, you guys are all gonna hate me, and y'all are gonna be like, this guy is a freaking idiot. But Famous Dave's restaurants.
Famous
I used to
Dave's?
get Famous Dave's restaurant, man. I
Oh,
used to get the rib
Lord.
tips, and then those butter biscuits. Like one of those biscuits had more calories in it than like a Big Mac
For sure.
or a Whopper. They proved that. But Famous Dave's, man, those rib tips. I just wanted to know how I could make those rib tips, and then boom, I just started cooking whole ribs because I was just like, oh, this is what this is. A rib is fairly simple to cook if you don't overthink it.
For sure.
And so that's when I fell in love with ribs. It was probably, 2004. I could
Wow.
probably say exactly the date
Good Lord.
because,
Wow.
shout out Famous Dave's, I used to go up there.
That's what I'm
God,
talking
You guys are
about.
going to hate me too. When I was 20 and used to underage drink at the bar. Oh, God. Sorry, I told y'all
The
that.
story comes out.
I don't condone underage drinking whatsoever, but
Not
I
at all.
made some mistakes in my past, and that was one of them. But I used to do that back in the day. Shout out, God, what was that guy's
Did you have a good fake ID or just knew the guy?
No, I just knew the guy, and he was a nice, kind soul. And I made cash because I was bartending and waiting tables. And I was like, no, I'm going to Famous Dave's.
I had an Elvis ID. It worked flawlessly.
That's
And
funny.
it was Elvis.
All right, so what's your rib story, Chef Greg? Where did you fall in love with some good ribs?
All right, so I used to grow up
Or
playing
trash ribs like I
I used
did.
to grow up playing ice hockey. We'd travel all across the southeast every weekend, pretty much playing tournaments and games. But every Friday night we'd go out for steak. That was kind of our thing. It was steak night every
Your
Friday.
family or the team?
Just myself and my dad usually.
Okay.
Well, we were in Memphis, and
Shout
we
out.
decided let's go to a place called the Rendezvous. So it was probably 12 or 13. So this is I don't know, early 90s, give or take.
Showing your age, Greg.
I mean, sorry. And we went to the Rendezvous, And
Does not sound like a steakhouse. I'm
No.
not going to lie to you.
But we had some baby back ribs, and I got to tell you, they were insane. Even better than the ribs, though, were their baked beans.
Oh, yeah.
So fast forward the clock, I don't know, maybe 5-ish years ago, I was traveling business. We were in Memphis again, and I took one of the buddies who was my friend that ended up working at a hospital up there out to dinner at the Rendezvous. And they were the exact same.
They hadn't changed.
Hadn't changed.
Goodness gracious.
And
alive.
they do a different process to their ribs. They cook over charcoal and they do baby backs, and they go hot. Like they cook these ribs in like under 2 hours.
Okay.
And they season the ribs
Sounds
after
like
they cooked.
Applebee's. Am I right?
They season the ribs after they're cooked.
Yes.
So they'll put like a vinegar mop over the top and then do a dry shake because they're
See, I love dry shakes.
they're kind of like a Greek style rib where they have a lot of Greek oregano, and that's kind of the finish to their
that
ribs.
sounds good.
It is, but their baked beans, fire.
Okay.
Like
Chef John, give me your rib story. Do you have
Okay,
one?
so
Hit you on the spot.
I was probably a little bit younger than you guys. I was probably about 9 or 10 that I can remember. But I had our next door neighbor was an older gentleman from Texas, and he had an old school pit smoker. And every weekend he would do briskets, he would do ribs, and he would do pork butts. And he would pass it out throughout the neighborhood. So those ribs were probably like, I can remember eating them and being like, dang, like wanting to slap my mom because I'd never had ribs like this before. Like we'd eaten them, but I never had them tasting like this.
but they weren't the good.
Yeah, they were not that
good,
good. So yeah, that was my first rib experience where I knew
Nice.
that was it.
Cool.
That was it, yeah.
Well, speaking of the good, I will show you how I season my ribs. And this is kind of how I do my backyard profile. And again, kind of going back to that rendezvous, can't even talk today, rendezvous, can't say it, can't spell it, that profile. We're cooking, I got to use Boar's Night Out White Lightning.
Shout out.
It doesn't matter what it is, it goes on there.
Eric
Again,
and Alan, thank you guys
salt,
so much.
garlic, onion, MSG.
recteq Academy sponsors. We
Good
do appreciate
stuff.
you. This stuff is absolutely amazing. It's super fine. Guys, 9 times out of 10 when my food comes off the grill, anything, I'm putting that white lightning on it as well. Like that is my last thing. That's my finishing. That's my go-to.
And then I want to do a little herbaceous flavor, so I'm going to get that Colden's Freaking Greek. So again, lots of herbs here, and this is going to give me a more of a savory rib. So I've got, some good MSG, some good flavor. I'm going to add some nice savory notes. And again, still a bit of salt and pepper, marjoram, nutmeg, good stuff. Now,
Little herbaceous.
if I were to cook this like this, they would be delicious. But they're not going to get that really robust color that you're used to because there's not
No
a lot of sugar
paprika,
here.
no sugar, no nothing on there.
So again, I want a little sweet over the top, so I'm going to hit it with that honey rib rub.
Shout out.
Again, we're going back to Ross. And if you just want super easy ribs, just put this on
Just
there.
put one seasoning. That's
yeah.
right.
And be liberal with it.
And our seasoning is super coarse. It gives your food a good texture.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys, if you can run it through a grinder, you can make it even finer.
Make that finishing dust.
Make that finishing dust. That's absolutely right. And then you can see here, my ribs have already started to sweat out a little bit. This is okay. Moisture, is kind of being pulled out of that rib and kind of creating a little bark.
And that
if you could
that
say.
mustard is going to act like a great binder and really it's going to be rib glue.
And again, you can use molasses. I've heard of people using syrup, but for me, I don't know if I would want to use syrup. There's a lot of sugar in that, but there's a lot of sugar in molasses too, so I guess that would work.
And I just took a little bit of that extra
Barbecue
injection,
sauce?
and that was my
Mayonnaise.
binder. So I just took whatever.
I'm sure you could use sour cream.
You could. I saw somebody do mayonnaise on a steak the other day. I was kind of concerned, but then it looked really good.
No, a lot of folks on the internet, that's a trend now, is doing the cooking a steak with mayonnaise all on the outside.
So I'm just going to repeat that process. A little Boar's Night Out White Lightning, a little Colden's Freaking Greek, and then hit it with a little Rasa Ruski's honey rib over the top. And then for me, I'm going to let these ribs sit in the fridge for about an hour or so. Kind of let everything just get happy. I'm a 275 guy when it comes to ribs, especially St. Louis ribs. So,
and are you at 275? Are you wrapping?
I can. Now, if I do wrapped, I'll go about 2 hours, 20 minutes, 2 hours, 30 minutes. I will wrap about 60, 65 minutes or so until we're right about 200 degrees in between the bones. And then I'll unwrap, glaze for about 30 minutes. So 2.5, 1, 30 minutes is kind of that ratio.
And then I'm a 250 guy, and I don't wrap 250 100% of the time. They're going to finish between 5 and 6 hours. I don't put any sauce on them. Again, I like them dry. I like my sauce on the side, and I like to dip. I generally will get a single rib, pull the bone out of it, dip in my sauce and enjoy it that way. That's kind of how I please myself. But our boy John Rochford out there on Facebook, he had a great idea for his 680, what he would do with his old 680. He just bought an RT 700. He sold his 680 to a friend for a really good price. And then he got this 700, and of course it rocked the cook. But shout out to our boy John. That's a great idea. If you got a 680 and you're looking to upgrade, sell it to a friend because you know they're going to love that grill. You've already seasoned it for them. You know, the warranty is not transferable, but of course we're going to take care of your friends and family because they are technically in the recteq family.
For sure.
Without a doubt. And I saw this meme yesterday.
This is a good one.
This is pretty good. If you are living under a rock, a stimulus bill was passed, and
But Ray actually met.
this is pretty funny. A guy is looking at that old recteq bull with his check in his pocket, and then his old lady's looking at him like he's crazy.
But I mean, at last year's Memphis in May, y'all met Donald Trump's son.
That's right. Yeah.
Had a conversation in the
It
lobby.
wasn't Trump Jr. It was the other one. I can't remember. Not Jr.
It wasn't Junior.
It wasn't Jr. It was the other one. Can't remember. I'm sorry. I love our president, but I can't remember his son's name to save my life.
Comment down below. They had a conversation in the lobby all about grills and smoking and all sorts of fun
It was
stuff.
super cool. And unfortunately, they have postponed that Memphis in May this year. It was going to be the last year at the river until they fix it up. But hopefully folks in Memphis can get that going again. That's always a good contest. And then both you and I found this on the internet.
This was a great debate around the office earlier today.
Yep,
it was really funny
absolutely.
because everybody came in talking about it. And
But these are all fictional coaches that have coached on a television show and or movie. You've got Herman Boone from Remember the Titans. Mr. Miyagi, what a great coach from Karate Kid. Michael Jordan, Space Jam, of course, one of the greatest coaches of all times. He led the Space Jam team to beat the aliens.
Yep.
Gordon Bombay, D2, the Mighty Ducks. I thought he was in all of the D
he was in all
movies.
three, yeah, for sure.
So
and the D2 was the
Emilio
worst of them.
Estevez.
That was the worst of the movies, for sure.
Yeah.
The second one, Junior Olympics.
If
Come
Coach
on.
Klein wasn't on this list, I was going to be upset, America. I was going to be pissed. Chubbs Peterson, amazing coach.
It's all in the hips.
It's all in the hips. Eric Taylor, not really familiar with Friday Night Lights, didn't really get into that movie too much, but also a great coach. Jackie Moon, coach and player from semi-pro. Jackie Moon's probably one of the best coaches out
Free
there.
hot dogs if they want.
That's right. Patches O'Houlihan, again, another coach.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
If he was not on this list, I was going to be upset.
That's right.
And then Morris, Buttermaker, a lot of you knows him from the Bad News Bears.
It's a great movie.
But the question came up, what coaches, are not on this top 10 list right now? And then mine has got to be Will Ferrell from Kicking and Screaming.
Oh,
because
that's
he
a
was
good one.
That's good.
him
That's good.
and the coach from the Bears, Mike Ditka, got together and they coached the heck out of those kids. Feed it to the Italians. Feed it to the Italians. Greg, what was your coach that should have been on this list?
Well, another soccer movie, Rodney Dangerfield with
Oh,
Ladybugs.
man.
Oh, the Ladybugs.
I mean,
that was
that's
good.
going back.
Buddy, that's a good one.
Well, that
I
was
think, but
good.
there are
That
some
was
good, nonfiction coaches like Matthew McConaughey with We Are Marshall. Fantastic job. Who was the other one? Not Russ. It was Miracle. What the hell was his name? That coach, the hockey coach.
Oh, the guy from
Ray
the
Carnes
coach?
is watching.
Who? What's up, Ray Carnes?
What's up, Ray Ray?
Hey, Ray, put your favorite fictional coach in the comment section down below, Ray. We're talking
Ooh.
our favorite
But
fictional
Space
coaches.
Jam was an iconic
Charlie had a
movie.
good one. Charlie just said Mickey from Rocky.
That's a good
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That's a good
absolutely.
one.
He is an iconic coach. We had a good one this morning. What was yours, John?
I would have to say either Yoda or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Great fictional
Coaches.
coaches.
He
Coaching
would
them
pick
up.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
He would pick Star Wars.
Absolutely amazing coaches. There's also one that I can't get
With the
off.
sci-fi thing, you go Gandalf or the Grey Wizard. I mean, Star Wars.
Who
and
was the
Lord of the
coach for
Rings.
Harry
Oh, man.
Potter and the Quidditch?
Oh,
Amazing
yeah,
coach.
Mrs. What's her name? McGonagall. No, is it
Amazing
McGonagall?
coach.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing coach.
Yeah, I like
John,
Harry
you're
Potter.
freaking
It's a
weirdo.
good
No, I'm
movie.
just playing.
I love it.
But we
That's
got any
great.
good questions out there, John? We're having a great day on lunch break today. We're talking ribs. Thank you for joining us. Smash that share button. Wait, roll back. Ray said something?
Gene Hackman, it was a good one.
And Hoosier. Yeah, he was at Hoosiers.
There we go. Gene Hackman.
But would that be like a? But that'd be nonfiction because it actually
Burt
happened,
Reynolds,
right?
the longest yard. That's a good one. What else, John? Is there anybody
We
else?
got Jackie Moon,
Jackie Moon, yeah.
Eric Taylor, Chubbs all day long, Patches all day long.
But obviously, that's
That's a
the
tough
top
one.
10 list.
That's a tough
for
one.
sure.
Tom Hanks in League of Their Own.
Oh man, classic.
That was a good. That's a strong. That's strong play.
Classic coach.
I mean, you had Madonna and Rosie.
What was
O'Donnell
that?
in movie.
80s or early 90s college football movie where they were doing steroids?
I know this one. I know this one.
Gosh, but that coach was amazing.
What was that?
In the
name of that?
90s?
Yeah, it was like a. God,
It was like-
it's not over the top.
Oh, Lawrence Taylor was in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
And then there was a guy
They were
crying
the
on the
Sharks. It was the team was the
guy
Sharks.
crying on the bench at the end
Yes.
because he did all the steroids.
Latimer was his name.
Put in the comment
Latimer
section
was
down
his
below what
name.
movie we're talking about. Cheese and crackers.
If
That's
I
gonna
had my
bug me.
phone, I'd Google it right now.
But Alex Steller
But
was
LT
actually
was in that one.
Congratulations to Alex Steller. He was the winner of that RT 590 that Colton.
The
Carnes-
program. I'm sorry.
The program.
The program.
Yes. I gotta go watch that.
Who
movie
was
tonight.
that coach though? It wasn't.
Thank you, Larry.
I don't
It
know.
was,
He
not
was-
Robert De Niro. It was,
He let a lot of stuff
Scarface.
slide. He put the old blinders on. He let a lot of stuff slide on.
He was
that
the
team.
hooyah guy.
Yeah, they have a ton of them. Al Pacino,
Al
and Any
Pacino,
Given
there you
Sun-
go.
Any
Any
Given
Given
Sunday.
Sunday. That's right. Who was Cuba Gooding Jr.'s coach in Jerry Maguire?
Well, that- I mean-
amazing coach.
Would it be the coach or would it have been Tom Cruise?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. of
Paul
sports
Newman in
movies.
Slapshot.
Player coach Reg Dunlop. That's a good one.
Oh man, but thank you guys for playing along. Matt, I got any other cool thing? Oh, I wanted to show them the picture of how many ribs can fit on their grill if they got it.
Well, we could easily fit all these
Boom,
on
right there. All right, guys. Go ahead and screenshot this if you are on the fence about getting a grill and you're looking at just internal cooking space. But of course, for baby backs, the Bullseye can fit about 4, the 340 about 3, the 590 5 to 6, 700 7 to 9, and then 2500 is 25 to 30. And of course, that's all just that bottom shelf. If you add the extra interior shelf, you're adding more space in there. Where is the hole? Untrimmed spare ribs. There we go. The Bullseye is 1 to 2. 340 is 1 to 2. 590 is 3. 700 is 4. And 2500 is 14 untrimmed.
And again, there's still a little variance there because, again, not all meat is the exact same. These racks of St. Louis are, I'll say, pretty substantial. Sometimes
I
they
see that white light, and I just want to. God, I just want
you just want to eat it.
I do.
And what I'll do is before I cook my ribs, I actually give them a little bit of a squish. What I'm going to do is I want them to kind of plump up a little bit, and then that way you'll notice just like we injected those briskets, they kind of fatten up, but that's what I like. And I'm almost getting all absorbed in there, and these ribs
You
will
guys
take
saw me earlier.
about 4.5
when
hours.
When I was putting on the seasoning, you know, I picked up the rib and kind of got it in all of the little nooks and crannies and crevices.
Boar's Night Out White Lightning is good on just about
That
anything.
garlic version is good
Popcorn,
as well.
steaks, all sorts of good stuff. It does not suck.
Well, what didn't suck was the pot pies that we cooked yesterday.
Dude, those pot pies,
We'll be having that recipe come out very, very soon.
for sure. We dropped some off at Ray's house on the way home, and comment down below how was he. Now, he made pot pie the other day, and he said we had a little bit more stuff in it, but his was really good. So I'm waiting to see
Yeah, Ray's Pot Pie,
how
which is
ours
available on
stacked up.
YouTube, is amazing because I like the biscuit top.
Yes.
That is my favorite because it's savory. It's got the butter. You know, it's all of those good things all into one.
Especially if you got a little bit too liquidy, just kind of push them in there.
Right. So we're going to put these ribs on to be ready at about 7:30ish. We're going to put these on. They're going to take about 5 hours, so we'll put them on about 1 to 2ish.
But you can follow along. Check out our stories on Facebook and Instagram. Follow Jody, myself, and Chef John. We will give you all of the behind the scenes behind this because we're going to glaze these probably right about 7 o'clock, and we'll eat them right about 7:30 tonight for recteq After Hours.
Ray Carnes has one of the pot pies in the oven now, Chef Greg.
So he did? Okay. Well, let us, Ray, when you're done, let us know how
Let
it
us
was.
know how they were, Ray. We really appreciate you. Get better. We hope that foot is feeling much better.
John, what you got?
You got a question?
Hey, will you talk about the White Lightning? Where could people get it and exactly what is it?
Okay, so White Lightning is a rub that we use for a lot of our competition stuff. It's made of salt, sugar, MSG, garlic powder, all sorts of delicious stuff. It's with our friends at Boar's Night Out. You can pick this up at boarsnightout.com or check out our partners with AtlantaBBQStore.com.
Right.
You can get 10% off your entire order. Just type in recteq 10. You can pick it up. There's also a double butter garlic, which is really fantastic
Yeah,
on
it's really,
fish and
really good
seafood
too.
as well. But think of this as like the old-fashioned, what was it, the McCormick Seasonal.
Right.
You put it on everything.
Right.
So think of it kind of like that, 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Like you can just sit here and give Jody a spoon. He will literally eat that
Like,
out of the jar
I will pour it in my hand, get a little bit in my hand, just go.
all day long. All day long. It's a great rub. It's one of those things that kind of hits a little bit of everything.
Right.
But it's great on beef, good on ribs, good on barbecue. It's a good finishing dust because it kind of just melts in because it's really fine.
Yep. John, you got another question?
Yes, Bill Lane wants to know, do you need to let your ribs come to room temperature before you put them on the grill?
So I don't. Any meats I'm smoking for a long period, I want as cold as possible when it goes on the grill. Couple reasons. So these ribs are going to be about 70 degrees when they're sitting at room temp. Well, I'm essentially losing out on 30 degrees of smoke penetration throughout that process. Now, if I'm grilling a steak or a piece of chicken hot and fast, I don't mind because it's going to cook faster and be a little bit more even. But if I want to pack a lot of smoke in there, I've essentially lost 30 to 40 degrees of smoke throughout that time. And things like brisket, maybe it might take a little bit longer to get tender. Ribs, same thing. I want to render out that fat. And you want to get that spring. You make bread in the grill, you get that oven spring or grill spring, where as you put it in, that yeast activates, you get some really good rise. Same thing on the meat. Again, you guys saw that brisket last Wednesday. 300 degrees on the bullseye. What happens? We put it in there, that flat just ballooned up and it set. Same things with the ribs. So you want to make sure all of your food is super cold for smokes. It'll be a lot more even.
And
You
for
pack a lot more
safety, too.
flavor in there.
Keep your food cold, guys.
Yep.
And it's also easier to trim when it's colder too.
Oh, it's night and day. If you got a good sharp knife and that meat is super cold, I mean, you'll look like a professional.
Absolutely. But this has been Lunch Break, presented by recteq. We're live right here at the recteq Grills worldwide headquarters. We prepped up some ribs to cook for tonight's episode of After Hours. We do After Hours every Wednesday at 7 p.m. live right here at the recteq Grills Facebook page.
Good times.
When everybody leaves, when they lock the doors, when all the lights are off, they let us run wild here at the worldwide headquarters by ourselves. So we'd like to have some fun.
Debauchery untamed.
Yeah, we usually do a meal from start to finish. 9 times out of 10, we usually give something away, but we always have fun. Chef Greg, myself, and Chef John will all be here. Don't forget Product Spotlight tomorrow, lunch break tomorrow.
And make sure you follow our stories all day so you can see when these get cooked and the process behind it. Let's say you want a rock, paper, scissors for what grill?
Well, do you have a preference?
No, I don't care. I just was,
Okay.
their
So
competition.
who wins gets what?
You get to pick the grill. So we got a 700, a 590, or a bullseye out there.
All right, so whoever wins gets the...
The choice of the grill.
Okay.
Nice.
All right,
right.
so you're 1, 2, 3, shoot. Not shoot on 3.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
Right.
Okay.
Technically 4.
All right, good.
You got to, when you're playing this with somebody, you have to make sure you got that down. For sure. Because you already know their first move if they go on 3.
Absolutely. Ready? 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Ah!
I'll take the 590.
All right, we'll go 700. I'll take the flagship.
Do it. I'll take the 590. We're going to be using the Ultimate Blend Pellet, a mixture of red oak, white oak, and hickory. That's going to give us the most amazing amount of smoke for sure. Any other good questions that'll lead us out, Chef John?
Everybody's just saying they cannot wait to see it tonight. Ray Karn said, great job, and he'll see everyone tonight.
Oh, sweet.
There we go.
Ray Carnes will be in the comment section down below tonight for After Hours, 7 p.m. live right here on the recteq Girls Facebook page.
Make sure you share this video.
Smash that share button. Give us a like. Give us a love. Tell us how we're doing. Put in the comment section what you would like for us to cook. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
We will see you
At the recteq.
Follow our stories.
Do.
All right, let's yell at some people. They're crazy.
Recteq
Trevor.
lifestyle.
What's up, Trevor?
Set it.
We
and
prefer
forget
both
it
White
till
Lightning,
the sun
Frank Ventry,
starts
Uncle Mike
going
Ventry,
down.
Dave Ward.
Live your
Dave
life
Ward,
the
watch
way
the
you
whole
like.
episode.
It's the
John Wayne,
recteq
Cowboys. What's up,
lifestyle.
Joshua? Bill Mayer, Brandon Morris, Bill Lane, Clint Scarberry, The Chart. Just watch the video again. What's up, Ray Carnes, Frank Potter, Greg Bidwell, Brett Dillard.